Right, hi. So I'm now in East Brent. I'm in the middle of nowhere, literally, and just an M5 service station. They've got like a Days Inn, which is like a motel thing. Yeah, where I'll be staying for tonight. So obviously today's headline was the crash, but I'll get to that later. And right, today I think I accidentally wrote the century from Oxford to here, East Brent, Highbridge, whatever that's called, Edinworth as well. There are like many names for this area, probably many villages around here. But yeah, today started off actually quite well. I kind of looked up the forecast, and for the first part of the day, there should be a tailwind or from Oxford to probably past Swindon, and yeah, I was and I tried to get up early and to set sails earlier, but yeah, I kind of slept late last night, so so yeah, I started off like 10:30, and that was really a stretch when it was like really dead straight tailwind, which I haven't had in a long while. But first things first, steady, not quite steep, but long climb out of Oxford, and then turn onto country lanes, and surprisingly well paved, and not rolling at all, twisting and turning, but managed to get quite a big dose of tailwind. So grateful for that. And yeah, I mentioned before, I only had myself to blame for routing myself onto cycle routes and country lanes, which are horrible. So I took the extra effort last night after dinner. Well, it took me until like 1 a.m., something like that, just to reroute myself onto busier A roads. But yeah, certainly felt the difference today. So rode the A4 something into Swindon, and yeah, it's like, yeah, it felt really smooth, and got a nice tailwind as well, although from time to time it turns to a crosswind. But yeah, it was plain sailing for the first probably 2 3 hours. And then yeah, I turned onto some B roads, and then surprise, they got roadworks or something sewer related work for one stretch, and I basically had to again make my way round that, and there were not signs at all. There were like 10 destinations they said would be affected, but there was just like one diversion sign along the way. It was like ridiculous. So am I supposed to go the same way for all of the affected destinations? Which obviously wasn't true. But yeah, I've got a nice old bloke who kind of guided me to take a detour and round that roadwork, and yeah, managed to go into Chippenham, and saw some familiar sights, which is the Castle Comp racing circuit, where my first and last ever Bucks duathlon event took place. Yeah, quite nostalgia. And yes, from that point onwards, it turned into a cross headwind. But I stayed on the A420, which was quite nice, into Bristol. But there were like constant, maybe 2 3% climbs for like 10 kilometers out of Chippenham on the A420. And then yeah, it was just some more dramatic steep rises and descents, and then rolling terrain all the way into Bristol, where along the way I had quite a long traffic jam as well, through those busy roundabouts built on country lanes. Just stupid design. But yeah, I managed to get into Bristol okay. Um, I specifically routed myself to go past the go through the city on the Clifton Suspension Bridge, which is quite a sight. And yeah, it's definitely beautiful and worth the extra climbing up into the bridge, where the bridge is, from Bristol city centre. And yeah, a bit on Bristol, it feels quite a polarized city. So I was riding in from the northeast side. It feels really dilapidated, deprived, and lots of graffitis and wall paintings, whatever they're called. But then when I turned further into the city, it gets really busy. And then on the northwesternly side, I think, it's kind of turned into like a Paddington style high class residential area. So it was quite polarized, divided, however you want to call it, city. But yeah, turned off the Clifton Bridge, and then that's where the nightmare happened. Well, it was like 120 k's in, and I was like dragging myself up all those, rolling hills, and I got overtaken by like cyclists, roadies, like effortlessly. My ego took a big hit, but yeah. And then they were like, I'm getting to the crash, and that is the sort of it's a 4-digit A road, where it's literally shady and very steep climbs and descents as well. So yeah, there was a pair of I don't know if they're couples or just friends, but it was a fat guy just riding behind a lady. It wasn't very gentleman not to offer the wheel to give her a tow, something like that, which I'll get to a bit later. So yeah, got passed by them, but then sort of came back, and then in the descent, which is quite steep and twisty and windy as well, and I kind of had too much momentum, and I had carbon wheels on, so I couldn't really brake that heavily. So I was coming back at them at speed, and then I managed to just overtake the fat dude on the I think it's on the straights. I wouldn't overtake in corners, and then I couldn't overtake the lady because it was like winding a bit again, and I just couldn't risk it. And then the fat dude just stupid, brainless creature, just came back at me and tried to overtake me in the corner. So I was like, I just took the apex and was swaying out because of the centrifugal force, and he was like at the outside, and then where could I go really? I just crashed into him, probably at like 40 miles per hour, and we both flew off. He went over the top of like a fence or something as well, and I escaped just with minor damage, some cuts here, some more here, and my jersey is absolutely done. But yeah, it's just brainless and totally unnecessary, and I don't have my beeping machine with me today, so I'll just try not to be sweary. But yeah, it's really ridiculous. And then he just rode off afterwards, leaving me with like a cut front tire. It's the side wall that's been cut, and obviously not repairable. And then it was like 6 p.m. Everywhere was closed. But yeah, big shout out to Lost Walters, just random dude I bumped into when I was helplessly trying to fix the tire. Just gave me a hand to patch it up, put a sandwich back in, and helped me pump up the tire as well. Thank you very much. Really kind. I wouldn't be able to make it to tonight's day if it wasn't you. And also shout out to, I think, John and Alex, who also gave me a hand. And yeah, well, I just wish that fat bloke gets a couple of fractures here and there, and to learn from this. I mean, this is the best thing for you. But yeah, I managed to pick myself up literally, and carried on for another 30 kilometers to here in East Brent. But yeah, after that crash, surprise, surprise, I rooted myself again onto cycle tracks, and it was particularly gravelly. And yeah, because the balance of the bike felt a bit weird after the crash, I crashed again on the gravel roads trying to make a corner. And I think some of the cuts and certainly the patches on my tights were from the crash in the gravels. But yeah, after the cycle route turned onto some surprisingly nice country lanes, and got a big tow off some tractors returning from work. And yeah, just made it through, made it to this day's inn with the last really the last bit of sunlight or dusk at dusk, and I'm just grateful. But I managed to miss Burger King. It was closed, and I had to be ripped off by WH Smith, where they don't do meal deals in a motorway service station. It's just horrible. Yeah, let me show you the bike. This is the cut here. Oh, it's bulging outwards again, and it's very gravelly, and I think some part of the brake track for the front wheel is fucked as well. So yeah, pretty expensive crash, and my helmet probably saved my life. I don't see any cracks yet. Yeah, probably because that fat dude acted as my cushion. So I didn't have like such a big impact. Justice, I'd say. But yeah, my AirPods fell off my ear. But yeah, I was able to retrieve it with the old-fashioned way of, you know, returning to the crash site and just to turn up the volume. And yeah, it worked for me. So yeah, my brain is still working fine. So, and yeah, arms moving all right. Clavicle doesn't seem to be fractured. Probably some cuts. But yeah, I'm fine. And again, thank you, Loss. And right, I better get on with dinner and survey the damage on my bike, and probably ride into Burnham-on-Sea tomorrow to find a local bike shop just to patch up my bike and get a new tire. Alright, enough talking, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.